This is The Hunt, the Thomas Vinterberg movie with Mads Mikkelsen in it. There is a new movie called The Hunt, made in 2020, an American thing, and it's not that. So I'm here with Roman again. I'm going to discuss it. Okay, so what we're doing is we're looking at the structure, 3-act template, character scheme, and a pitch as well. So let's start with. So what did you get for the start?
I got that it's once upon a time a divorced teacher, Lucas, who wanted to see his son, Marcus.
Okay, you added the son thing. I guess.
I felt like the whole movie about him seeing his son.
Yeah, I mean, I left the son element to just a little bit later, thinking once upon a time there was a nice guy who was popular with his friends, but he was divorced and lonely. So I didn't mention the son, but I guess we're saying a similar thing but without the son. Okay, what was the end of the first 10 minutes?
Well, I had two elements. The first one is Clara is exposed to pornography.
Yeah.
And the other one is he gets close with Clara. So I'm not sure, maybe both of them together?
No, it's the first one. It's Clara, the teen boys, who strangely we never see again, and we don't really know who they are, expose Clara to a porn image. Because I think the closeness is already there. That's part of the narrative of the opening 10 minutes. But the 10-minute closing moment, I think, is, and then she sees some porn. Okay, what was the inciting incident?
He rejects Clara's kiss. Clara falsely reports him of molestation.
Yeah, there is that kissing moment, but I would say the inciting incident is kid makes accusation as opposed to hero refuses kiss, because it's the accusation which is sets the story in motion.
Yeah.
What did you get for end of second 10 minutes?
Well, I have two possibilities. The first one is the owner, Grace, suspects him, or he finds a new potential lover. But I think it's the second one. The first one. The owner suspects him. Yeah, the headmistress of the school is suspecting him of something.
What it actually is, I would say, is the end of the end of the second 10 minutes is he refuses a kiss from Nadia, the pretty woman. He refuses the kiss, and I think the whole thing about the suspicion from the woman that is true, that is there, but
she suspects him of.
It makes us as the audience, because in the first part of the story they're saying they want us to. They're slightly unsure as to whether we should always think he's innocent or think there could be something about this guy. I think end of second 10 minutes is refuses kiss from the pretty woman Nadia, which makes us think, oh, maybe he's not into adult women or something. I think the end of the second 10 minutes is to make us suspicious. The storytellers are saying, oh, maybe this guy is something weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's Polish.
Hey?
She's Polish, by the way. She speaks Polish.
Oh, really? Was it? Yeah. It's one of the notes I made as well, that there are several false notes in the film. I think the first false note was her speaking English, which, because it's Vinterberg and he wants to appeal to an international audience, he just wanted to have someone speak English, I think. Though, in his defence, it could be that the woman who's interested in him is from out of town, is the new woman, who is a foreigner, a stranger. giving us this idea that women who already live there aren't interested. So maybe it's... But when she spoke English, I thought, okay, yeah, you want to sell it abroad. Fair enough. What's the plot point one?
The headmistress officially accused him of molestation.
Yeah. The boss states the accusation and suspends him. She just says you should take a few days off, but that's a polite way of suspending him. Through Act 1, we're building up. Okay. I mean, she doesn't accuse him. She states what the accusation is. Do you know what I mean? There's a slight difference.
Yeah.
And she suspends him. But by her suspending him, we have a problem there. And that's at 30 minutes. We're on schedule there. Act 2, Part 1. So Act 2, Part 1 is the second 30 minutes. It's the second 25% of your film. In the first part of Act 2, Part 1, they meet this expert who talks about, who asks the kid questions. And we get what I thought was the second false note in the film, which was that the headmistress was sick. That she was listening to this and she threw up, which I sort of found really fake. But anyway. Let's get to the bridge, the first bridge or the first pinch, the 45-minute section.
He's accused of more crimes, of more molestations by other parents.
He is, but is there a moment that you could be quite specific that that happens at that 45-minute moment? It's to do with what becomes the main plot and the main, when the moment of truth comes. Who's it to do with? It's to do with the two guys.
Yeah.
I would say that the first bridge, the first pinch, is that Theo, his best friend, doesn't believe him. Believes his daughter, doesn't believe him, and says, "I'll kill you." And I think that's the important bridge moment because that's the big betrayal that his closest friend, who's the dad of the young girl, says.
Definitely.
Also, it's also quite a false note in the writing of the film because the film has, in order to compress time, there's a lot of hysterical stuff going on. The hunt, witch hunt. It's a retake of the Crucible, Arthur Miller play. He says things like, "My girl doesn't lie." Which parent believes that? Every parent knows their kid's full of crap half the time, So you had to have these fake elements, which I think were just to compress the drama and make it move quicker. Because the headmistress wouldn't be so inexperienced and sensitive as to throw up, and the dad wouldn't be so dumb as to say children don't lie. But I think that is the bridge one moment, the 45-minute moment. Theo doesn't believe him. My girl doesn't lie. I'll kill you. What about the halfway point?
His son returns. He's arrested.
Even though I would almost say the halfway point just comes slightly before 60 minutes. Just to do with the time. And what I mean by time is a change of scenery, or the end of a sequence. At the end of the sequence, I thought it was the bit where he kicks out his girlfriend. He's isolated, so even his girlfriend doesn't believe him. Everyone is against him. Because I think the return of his son is the beginning of Act 2, Part 2. The beginning of a friendship, a redemption, a possible way forward. Whereas the son returning is, I think, a point of new beginning. He has an ally. And so he kicks out his girlfriend at 58 minutes. So, it's a couple of minutes earlier than you might. What did you get for the second bridge, the midway point of Act 2, Part 2? So Act 2, Part 2 being from the halfway point up to 90 minutes. So from 60 minutes to 90 minutes, usually. It's the third 25% of your narrative, which is often compressed. But anyway, the bridge is the halfway point.
His son attacks Clara.
Okay. I was thinking about that moment of violent action. Yeah, because often the pinch moment, the bridge moment, is usually a moment of action which isn't directly on the main spine of the plot. That's someone else messaging me. So I thought, this is a typical bridge moment. This moment of violence where the son attacks. And in a way, it's not perhaps that logical that the son would the son would spit on the daughter. I mean, they thought, well, how can we make this more dramatic? And so, I mean, it works, but it's slightly false. But I think in the context of the film, you buy it. I actually revised my second bridge moment and thought that it could be Lucas released, but then maybe that goes back to my previous argument about the halfway point, and maybe Lucas released is the beginning of optimism following the bridge. So I ended up putting Lucas released plus action of son fight, which is a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So those are two key structural moments. We have that action moment of the son fighting, and then we get the plot moment of Lucas released. What would you say is the end of Act 2, Part 2, the moment of truth?
I think it's in the church when his best friend realizes he's innocent through looking his eyes.
Yeah. I put Lucas confronts Theo's guilt. Yeah, I realise I've been a bad guy. And I think it's the moment of truth because the friend sees the truth,
Yeah.
And our inciting incident was the friend believes the lie. So we've gone from friend believes the lie to friend believes the truth. They could be our pivots. Again, it's interesting to find spinal ways of talking about the plot you're working on. What I mean by spinal ways, I mean having the same storyline being on the spine of your story. We're into Act 3 at 90 minutes, thereabouts. So what is the climax? This might be a kind of slightly tricky one.
When they're having Christmas dinner together, they reconciliate. Theo goes to Lucas' house, wakes him up with dinner, and they're having dinner for Christmas together, and they kind of reconciliate.
Well, I know what you mean. I mean, that is an important moment. And in a way, it is the climax of maybe their story. So again, contradicting myself in a way here, but that is the climax of their narrative, in a way.
Yeah.
But I think the climax of the film itself, because the film itself is to do with the society turning on him, and his friend represents that, and also it's not a very climactic moment, is it? And then suddenly my friend makes me breakfast, which was also another false note. Maybe, it's set in Denmark. I don't know what the Denmark people do, but the guy just walks into his house, makes him breakfast, and wakes him up. It's just, who's ever done that to you ever? It's like a fake moment, but...
Or where he gets almost killed, but it's the end.
Yeah.
It's the end.
Yes. So the question becomes, how do you distinguish your climax idea from your end idea? Because I do think that is the actual climax of the film. I mean, as soon as in Act 3, as soon as his son is given a gun, you're waiting for. I put straight away as I was looking at the film, who does the son shoot? As a kind of, I wondered, but obviously that doesn't happen. But you've got a gun. It's called The Hunt. We've set up this idea that he kills deers for fun. They're now going to go hunting. So we're still waiting for that emotional climax. Because the emotional climax of the friend story was in the church. So calling that the climax, it's almost just like the ending of that journey, the friend's belief or not belief. But the film's climax was the gun moment where someone takes a shot at him. But if that is the climax, who did you think shot at him?
His son?
The friend's son.
No, his son.
His son. Why would his son shoot?
We see a gun, he get a gun. I mean, visually, we only see his kind of son with the gun.
I don't think the son... No. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy that his own son, who's the only person who stood by him, once it's all out and forgiven, that he would turn on him. I don't buy that, but I wondered if it could be his Theo's son, the best friend's son. But I think it's not meant to be a specific person for a reason. And the reason is, it's just that the community, the society, is still unsure about this.
Also this moment when Clara wants to cross the floor.
Yeah.
To meet him, and she doesn't know which path to take, and obviously there is a message there, but I was not sure which one.
Well, I thought the message was, there are these lines in life which you have to be careful about crossing, and the ones you're careful about crossing are the ones that don't matter, and the ones that you crossed are the ones that matter. So you are slightly mad. People are mad when they are very... It's like people who will love their cat or their dog, but they hate people. You often get that. It's a slight bit of madness. I don't drop litter, but I will stab you if you do. It's just...
Yeah.
But that was another climactic moment where we were being teased. But we were being teased towards... Is something going to happen here? Is someone going to see that and go, he's at it again, kill the man? It was, and it could have been a thing in the film where he had done something, and often in quite crude genre films, we're led to believe someone's innocent, and then they flip it on its head and said, no, he was guilty all the time. And the more shallow the film, the more they'll just flip it in a way. Maybe. But so yeah, there was another moment there, but he set her down without incident, and that was the climax of their moment. So the film gave Act 3 said, let's deal with the friend, let's deal with the daughter, and now let's deal with the whole community, which was the presentation to his son. So you had 3 sequences in Act 3. So if Act 3 climax is he's shot at, and again, it's a great thing in European cinema, you can, we don't have guns, so you can't just have random shootings. It has to be set in the context of a hunting party, which is a little bit old-fashioned, but anyway. But it gives us a climax, and it's cheap to film, it's cheap to make that moment, But it was very dramatic. It was a really good ending, really good climax. So if you said the climax is someone shoots at him, What would you say the ending was? How would you describe the end? What are we meant to take away at the end? Well, what would you say the end is?
Even though the society is so much against him that the society would like to kill him, he survives because he's innocent, and even though everybody thinks he's not, maybe till now, he is, and he survives, and innocence prevails.
Ah, really? That's very optimistic. I don't think that at all. I think it's I think the ending is even though you're innocent, people,
Yeah, right.
it's I think it's in the feeling of the community now that what did I put? I put ending shot at, end he's not safe. He's not out of the woods. Suspicion remains. Fear remains. Because I think we walk away from the film going, "Oh, I hope he's going to be all right." Not because he was shot at. So